Good day, my good ones. How are we? Are we working hard on ourselves? Are we having fun? Are we helping others? It's all so good. It's all so good. Uh, I just wanted to do a thank you video to all of you guys out there for helping. Might not be evident to some, but keeping this level, which hasn't been on this planet, keeping this level of understanding, because that's all life is different levels of awareness or understanding. Keeping this ego-free and keeping this pure and on point is difficult. And the reason it's difficult is the mind. There's no question about it. We've talked extensively, and I've woven in these health talks spirituality, as you've noticed. I don't want to upset anybody that's not interested in that. But at the same time, it's a vital part of life, because it is who you are, whether one has tapped into that level or not. All it is a bunch of us playing in creation, using the mind as the creator. And you see that in all religions in one way or another. Talking about the mind is the trap. Christianity, it was the serpent and the tree of knowledge. And when you take a bite of the tree of knowledge, if you're not careful, you get trapped, and you can stay here for quite a while. But I wanted to give a shout out, because it is because of you guys that many out there are getting their remedy where they didn't have it before. Rita, Michelle, Hildy, all you guys are cream of the crop. And I generally don't like to say thank you to one or two when there's so many that has done so much. But Rita and Michelle, I know you've been doing good on the Facebook, and I want to talk about that because there's been a lot of things going on out there. And since this is in everybody's face, let's talk about it, because having Facebook sites and help sites are vital. And, you know, recently you're aware that our attorney, who's very spiritual attorney, if you've ever read the cease and desist order to Brian, very spiritual. We do everything as spiritual as we can. Because this isn't about negativity toward Brian or anyone else, because I love you all. I love you, Brian. I love all of you guys. But sometimes we get caught up in things and we don't realize it, and we start pointing fingers at everybody else, and we're not looking back at ourselves just a little bit. And it's easy to do, you know, because when I got into this, it was so exciting. I knew I found some answers to the raw foods, of course, and then, of course, I was shown the keys to the God-conscious state, and all that was just overwhelming at the time as a young lad, you know, and I lost a lot of friends, I think, because of my ego. I was so excited to help others. I didn't realize that maybe I was a little out of balance in that way. We are a team, all of us, including Brian and all of us. We all have to work together to help this planet, because it's suffering pretty bad. To look how much it's suffering, look at how busy the AMA is, and look how big it got. If you don't think man's suffering, take a look at that. I mean, it is. And when you're in this field, it becomes extremely apparent how bad this planet has gotten. And humans are suffering big time. And it's important why I'm here, and why I'm very adamant about keeping things as pure as possible. When I die, you guys take it and run, but you know, we need to keep it as pure as possible. So for all you guys out there, I want to thank you all. You know, remember, it's not about you, it's about suffering, it's about all of life. And on our Facebook sites, I want as many as we can get out there. This is a movement. We're in a movement with a lot of spiritual beings at our side, helping us to lift this level up just a little bit, to infuse it a little bit. And it's important that we stay that way, because if you look around, you know, you'll see some raw foodists who have not experienced enough, who have had a lot of good raw food, time and detoxing, but has not understood the supplementation yet. So you've got some of these people, too, in my mind, that have now pushing digestive enzymes. And I warned about that. The mind will pull you in and suck you in and consume you. And before you know it, you're off point, you're walking down another road, that sort of thing. Keep it simple, because simplicity is always your key to getting out of here in all ways. Complication, academics, and intellectualism is the lost currents, because you can seek knowledge till hell freezes over, because all knowledge exists within consciousness. In the mind, it's an ever-seeking issue. You go study, and you need more. You got to open more and more. In the world of atoms, the atomic energies and subatomic particles, and you can get into all levels of looking and playing in creation all you want, and you have fun doing that. But there's a negative side of creation that bites one's butts as well, and it's the way it's set up here. And essential, I see, but difficult when it comes to the negative side flying in. Difficult to deal with. But the thing with the Facebook site with Brian, it was just they wouldn't allow our staff in, and they would not, and they started kicking people off. This is something we don't tolerate, because if you want to be an official site for us, you have to do like Rita and Michelle and Hilda. You've got to keep it pure and simple. These are elevated souls, beautiful souls that get it. And they've been protecting this level of purity, very aware of these guys. Love you all and love these guys. And all of you that are doing that, because people need help. Forget about knowledge and what you know and know more than others and things like that. It's not important. What's important is that everyone's suffering. You got yours. And be humble about that, because information is given to you at the ability you have to handle it. And that's the God thing. And this just happens to be at the point where man is suffering so much that the health modalities on this planet are crumbling. People don't know where to go, where to turn. This is another reason why it's so important to keep this simple and to keep it pure and scientific, because there's no need to get way out there, because we want people to understand what we're talking about and be able to apply it to their daily lives. They don't care about anionic, cationic. They don't care about the van der Waals and how electromagnetic energy potentials are changed by these forces, by all the different forces. And I just get on and on and on to these deep levels of understanding. It's okay, kind of fun to play with once in a while. I played with biochemistry as I am a biochemist. I played with that quite a bit, and I just put it all away. I put it all away because it led me nowhere. And I realized, digging and digging, trying to get the answers, digger and digger, comparing, looking and comparing, that I realized that this is man's problem. He's letting the mind take him on dream trips, and therefore you lose the ability to understand simplicity, and this is what's happened to allopathy. And still, in these levels of theories and stuff, you have to be real careful. What is simple is the design of the human being, the types of food the human being is designed for. These are all simple things to understand. People can argue, but in the application thereof, the truth is exposed. Because one gets his remedy, his wellness, by moving into a fruitarian lifestyle for a while. We're not advocating everybody become fruitarians. I don't think you'll see that for several generations yet, if it's even possible for man to exist at this very chemical level and be that high level. I was watching something it was talking about two of the strongest animals on the planet, and the great ape was one of them, and said he's a pure frugivore. And of course this is totally accurate, even though a lot of them are up in the mountains, where we keep pushing all our animals way, way away from us. It's enough to say I want to thank each and every one of you for your hard work. And maybe we'll talk a little spirituality here for a minute. I've got someone coming in today, but so For all those people that don't want to hear any spirituality, now's the time to leave the room. Maybe turn away and walk away. There was a cute movie like that one time. He's playing Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill! And all the kids, get your parents away, Mr. Bill. Get your parents away. So, all those gone that don't want to listen, it's enough to say that many of you souls have been down here way too long. It's time for you to take a break and get out of here. And this is a level that's exceedingly difficult to get out of here. A lot of people, and I'm not going to be religious, but when you look at the cycles and you understand that life is an ever-going thing, the only difference is when you change your attention from one place to another. A lot of your past lives, a lot of your journeys are shut down from you because of the conscious mind, but you can go to the Akashic record, you can go to the causal mind and look at your journeys all you want. You can get a spiritual being to take you there. Sometimes you get Akashic record readers. We have one in town. She's pretty good. She can read the Akashic records of people and stuff, and it really gives you a good sense of your journeys. But a lot of you, it's time to go. It's time to wrap up and get into some much higher levels of fun and experience and discipline and consciousness. And to do that, you have to get to the play mode. You have to let this world go. The stranglehold this world has on you is the physical body, the emotional body, and the mental bodies. And of course, the id itself. So if you want to be free of whatever level, you want to get up out of this level, you have to detach yourself from the things of this world. Or your attention into the things of this world becomes your journey. That's exactly how it works. Your attention is your awareness, is your consciousness. And where you place it is where all your energy, all your attention is. When you don't place your attention in any specific area, you expand. When you put your attention in an area, you contract. So you limit your field of vision. And if you're trapped in the mind and studying academics and studying the body and studying chemistry and studying all this all the time, you forget that you're the studier. Who's the studier studying all this? And that you really didn't need to do that because as part of the all of life, all the knowledge of life is already within you. You don't have to go seek it outside of yourself. But that's the illusion of creation, and that's why creation works. Because you forget who you are. You forget that journey that you're on. So you can enjoy the now in your journey. So you can enjoy this lifetime, what you're doing. You can understand how that's important to do that. Because some of the journeys you've been on hasn't been very pleasant. Some of you have been tortured. Some of you have been killed and killed others. When you see past life regressions, it's interesting. I saw one once, and this guy said, the guy was asked, what do you do? And he said, I'm a killer. I kill for the king. And so it was just interesting. And they actually went back and showed his name and showed that he existed back in that time frame. How interesting. But it's enough to say most of you spiritual people get the cycles of how creation works. And so this is why it's time to get your wellness, get your self-discipline, spend some time alone with yourself so you can love yourself and appreciate who you are and get a hold of that ego. Because anytime you start saying my, me, things like that, I work very hard to say us, we, because I want everybody involved, because we are one. Sometimes it's, if you haven't had those higher level consciousness experiences consciously, then it's hard to understand that feeling, that sense, that knowingness that all things spring from the one. You only know that when you quit being separate from everybody else, and the only way you're not separate is in awareness and consciousness. Everything else is an isolate, so to speak. It's individual expressions of the one, in all shapes, all sizes, all forms. But that's the coolness of it, isn't it? Heck yeah. So the mind is the one you have to guard against. And you just have to spend time observing life, and kicking back a little bit. A lot of you have been on some tough journeys. It's time to open the door and help others and get your own sucre. and understand who you are. And no one can, we can lead you down that journey. We can tell you the things you can do to do it, but only you can go through that magic door of awareness, of consciousness, and home you will be. And that only exists in the present moment. Time is outside of the now, obviously, and time is an illusion, but a set of positive and negative poles of duality, which yields experiences and yields form, shape, size, light, and sound. Matter of fact, light and sound comprises all things. Everything has its light and its music. Every atom sings as it moves through the universe, or as it buddies up with its friends and creates elements and everything else. And that's the fun stuff. You know, it's getting yourself free from the chains of your desires and the chains of your thoughts and the chains of bad food eating, because you feel so good when you eat raw foods. You feel so good when you eat more fruit and less vegetables. You know, for those that are really wanting to grow spiritually, the less earthly eating you do, the higher you'll be. You're starting to leave this earth in your awareness. It's just a rock spinning through space. It really doesn't exist. It exists only in the element of the mind. It feels so real until you have an out-of-body experience or you leave your body and go into another realm. Do you realize how transient this world is, and how electrical and, how shall I say, in flux this world is? But that's part of the fun of it. But getting your stability in your awareness is your survival, not only in this lifetime, but the many ones if you're going to continue in playing in these fields of dreams. For many of you, you're awakening to the calling that you have to help others, and that's the sign of it's getting time for you to help others and then go to a greater experience, because the God worlds are endless. But life is beyond that even. Consciousness, awareness. Hard to understand that when we're so used to thought, comparisons, rationales. Whenever we enter an experience, the mind immediately tries to get back in all its computer system to look back in related experiences. And, well, do I like that or do I not like that? And all these sort of things where soul, you, the consciousness, is just observing the experience and moving into it to feel it, to wear it, to see what it feels like. So experiences have to have thought, emotions, and form to them to a certain extent for you to experience, because outside of that, consciousness is formless. There is no form to consciousness. When someone says, God, they think of a being. There's no, the infinite cannot be and isolate. So it's somewhat difficult sometimes to understand these things unless you spend some time in meditation or contemplation. I always am into contemplation. I wake up in the middle of the night at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I've been, traveling and viewing things I need to bring here to help. But I love you guys, and this is important stuff that we're all doing. I want you to keep doing it. You too, Brian. But sometimes you have to understand that out of love, I'm going to step in and try to strange things up a little bit, because that's my job. And that's what Rita and Michelle and Hildy and a lot of you are doing. And that's vital, and I appreciate that so much in you guys. You're my sidekicks. It's tough to keep it simple. It's tough to keep it pure, because the mind is biting at your heels like a mad dog chasing you down the road. And you have to be a strong being. But each and every one of you are strong beings. If you don't feel it in the physical, okay, we can change that. But in your presence, in your consciousness, be strong. Because when you have your sukha, when you have your experiences, You know everyone else comes from the same place, and if they're not having theirs, how beautiful is it when you extend your hand and said, let me show you. It's time to get out of the complication. It's time to get out of the academics of health. It's gotten way, way, way out of balance. You don't have to kill massive amounts of people to heal people. It's all out of balance here. Even naturopathy wasn't able to sustain the purity of naturopathy. So what do you have? The negative forces pulled it in. Now medical doctors own most of the naturopathic schools, and what you have is naturopathic medicine. You see the influence of the medical world on naturopathy. It's disgusting. But I'm sure it's a bridge, it's a gap. I tend to be a little hard sometimes, no question. But there's a time where we need this level, because even naturopathic medicine now is failing people. These naturopaths that got into high protein thinking and stuff, they don't even know what naturopathy really is. I bet you the average naturopath couldn't give you the name of the person that coined the word. So this is part of the problem. And it's important for us older people to keep things as pure as possible. And then those of you that are the neophytes, those of you that are the chelas that are coming to be the masters, shall take the reins and keep it pure as possible. Even Eckankar had a hard time doing that. This is why it's not what it was. And that's okay. I suppose that each little bump up is good enough, but there is a point of infusion where there is saturation, and Eckankar did that. And you need to balance. You have to have time for humanity to catch up with these high levels of energy that we're infusing on this planet. So there's a little time differences. And it's just, you know, the level of energy and consciousness we're infusing. And man has been prepared for this for quite a while by different people. J. Krishnamurti was involved, the Eckankar masters were involved. In a way of thinking, everyone is involved in moving creation as it is. But it's, you know, as the mind works in grooves and cycles, kind of like an old phonographic record, it has to be infused a little bit, or it's trapped in its own cycles. So that's why God always has its higher level beings coming and infusing, and then moving and infusing. It's just the way the universes are ran and dealt with. There are some things that have to be helped a little bit, but it's all part of the funness of the awe, because you can't truly be hurt or destroyed. Only your bodies can. But that's the game of it. You ever play Little Soldiers, or in my life, Cowboys and Indians, and who knows, you know, as time goes on, everybody plays these little games set up by man, and everybody killing everybody. You know, that sort of crap. But that's creation. It's the Lincoln log sets. It's the little Legos and stuff like that. That's what atoms are. That's just what these universes are. So I just wanted to give a shout out and a thank you. And a thanks to Brian and all you guys too. I'm not hammering anybody. I'm keeping it pure. And you have to trust me that I know when you're not doing it. We don't sit here on our laurels and do nothing. When someone writes in and complains about something, we look at this, because I am very adamant and a stickler about this. Because if not, we will be destroyed by the negative forces, and I will not let that happen, not as long as I'm here. So we have to be strong. And some of you guys are stronger than others, and it's no big deal. Each and every one of you have the opportunity to grow and open up. Some of you have suffered so much, like Rita, that you found your way, and out of that, the flower blossomed. Sad it takes suffering down here to pull you back. But it's just the way it is, you know, and that's what I'm saying. A lot of you, it's time to wake up. And the suffering is going to get more intense if you don't. I'm just letting you know. It's not from me. So, We all have to help people, guys. Help people find their way. Souls that are lost and trapped in these levels and the negative forces. This is the negative cycle of this planet. That's even more important why you guys are here. So thank you, and thanks for your gifts of cards and thank yous and stuff like that. Every one of them is highly appreciated and loved, because we need to work together as a team. I work very hard to pull us together as a team. That's the only way we're going to win this and make a statement on this planet to uplift this. And this will echo throughout the universes. And all life will be touched. And that's important. So you'll have fun today. I'll get back to the questions and answers. And I know I'm going to do only hour videos now, because I know they're just too long. And we'll do topic videos. But you can pretty much see how these question and answers are running. The skin problems, the fibromyalgias, the cancers. All these things that you're seeing are just simply different levels of acidosis, different levels of dehydration and stagnation of fluids in the human body, particularly the lymphatic fluids. When one learns how simple that is, we don't have to tear too deep into chemistry and academics, because it's unimportant. What is important is what works. You can take someone that is riddled with inflammation, tissues are broken down all over the place, tumors all over the place, clean them up, rebuild them. Now, the job of chemistry is to explain how we did that. Not to explain in chemistry initially how we're going to use isolates and go in and we're going to change the electromagnetic potentials, and we're going to move the anionics. We're going to move toward a dominance of anionic involvements, or an anionic environment, which is a hydrated environment, which is a liquidity environment, as opposed to a cationic, dehydrated, acidic environment. So we're moving in these levels to these levels, but in one level, who cares? Unimportant. Because if you get too lost, you lose your fun. Now, some people enjoy the study of science. I do. I hate to tell you that, but I enjoy the study of science. Always have. I've always been in science classes. I love them. Math, things like that, that's my side of life. English, spelling, pronunciations? Nope. Who cares? There's so many languages out there, and not just on this planet. There's so many different places to be, and it's like, okay, who cares? I like the God communication better. So my time is getting limited, so I'm going to go here, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out to each and every one of you, and not to miss a single one, because I love each and every one of you guys. Keep it pure. Keep it godly. All right, you can let the people that didn't want to hear the spiritual side back in the room. But thank you all for taking your precious time and learning and growing. My God. I'm honored that we're all in the presence at this time of this massive move to uplift itself. It's just humbling as hell. And I think we all should be humbled for that.